Coming up on this edition of the Bridgewater Review.
Today is the culmination of a life of dedication and service and love of others.
A local sports complex is dedicated to the memory of a man who made a huge difference in getting kids on the field.
Dorothy, did you say Dorothy? The witch's story? Well, that is a different map.
Follow the yellow brick road to Bridgewater State for their latest on-stage performance.
Are we ready?
And a 5K gets messy to support a school group. We'll have these stories and more coming up.
Welcome to this edition of the program. I'm Mary Evers.
And I'm Scott Olson. A Bridgewater man who passed away in December will forever be known as the father of baseball. Bob Stearns helped introduce the game of baseball to kids of all ages in town. Bob's passion for the game will never be replicated, but back in June, family members, former coaches, and players came together to help dedicate Bob's memory to the field he helped build. John Locke has more.
It's our privilege to be here to honor one of the finest citizens I've ever known in the town of Bridgewater.
If you ask those that knew him, Bob Stearns was someone that wasn't looking to be recognized for what he did for the kids here in town. Mr. Stearns passed away last year, and since then, the Bridgewater Little League dedicated its season to the man that helped introduce America's pastime to youth in the community. Residents came to Legion Field for the dedication of the Robert J. Stearns Baseball Complex at Legion Field. Family, friends, and those that played and coached while he was in the snack shack or helping someone get on the field came to the field that now bears his name to talk about the man who is synonymous with baseball in Bridgewater.
He was the father of baseball in Bridgewater. He pretty much orchestrated the entire complex and being able to have baseball in Bridgewater for kids from age 4 all the way up to 16 just through town Little League baseball. He was the district administrator for District 7 for Massachusetts. And he became even involved even beyond just our own district. He would always go to like the East Region for conferences. He went to the Little League World Series. In my opinion, he genuinely wanted every kid to be able to have the chance to play baseball if they did.
Town Councilor Tim Fitzgibbons played Little League and has served as coach here in town, and he told us that Bob's dedication to Little League baseball didn't just stop locally.
Bob was a great citizen of the community for many, many years. I first met him in 1976 when I was a 9-year-old, and he was president of the Little League, and he dedicated his life to the Little League, and not only in Bridgewater, but throughout Massachusetts, in fact, even nationally and internationally. And to recognize Bob in this manner is a very appropriate thing for the town to do. I remember times sitting over there in the snack shed where Bob was on the phone talking with Pennsylvania about eligibility issues of kids in Middleborough or Wareham, and can I accept this documentation and so on and so forth. He was very conscientious, and he loved Little League baseball. So it was, you know, he just loved it with a passion that I can't explain, but that bled through to everybody who knew him.
For the Bridgewater Review, I'm John Locke.
You can watch the full dedication on our YouTube page. Just search BTV Access Corporation, and while you're there, make sure you subscribe to watch more of our local programming.
Councilors heard the audit for fiscal year 18, and there was a lot of good news from Roselli, Clark, and Associates, who have been conducting their audit for the town for the last 10 years. A big part of the audit involved the town's reserve balance. Tony Roselli showed that trends from when the town went through some tough financial times, showing a negative balance of $325,000 on the reserve funds. And as you can see on the screen, the trend pointed up. The reserves include general funds that carry over from the previous year and stabilization funds that can have money moved to different accounts for upcoming fiscal years. The council also saw that local receipts exceeding forecasted amount of $2.7 million. Mr. Roselli did have some suggestions for going forward for Bridgewater, including the town seeking an S&P rating, which hasn't been done in the last 30 years.
I went back 30 years to see if you've ever had S&P come out, and the S&P rating, the metrics they use suit this town much better than Moody's. Moody's is suited more for a town that's got a very large equalized valuation, which is your assessed value. So I had recommended at your next bond offering to talk to your financial advisors and have S&P potentially come in and do your rating this time instead of Moody's. And also, myself and Mr. Salamanti talked about potentially having a tour, like actually having S&P come out, do a site visit, and go through the town. I find that that's really helpful in getting, maximizing your bond rating.
With the reserve skyrocketing, Councillor Sean George asked that maybe this rise in that fund is affecting how some budget numbers are getting made and what a good practice would be for the town going into future budget cycles. Roselli said that the town should start looking at liabilities, including the pension liabilities, which are mandated, and the OPEB liabilities, which are voluntary. With the 15% reserve ratio, the town can go up to 5% before they can't go any higher. Remember, you can watch meetings on demand on our website at btvaccess.com, and you can watch them live on Channel 22 and the BTV YouTube page.
The town received its annual gift from Bridgewater State University earlier this month. Members from the Town Council, Town Manager Michael Dutton, and Bridgewater State President Fred Clark were at the presentation along with other members of the university in town. This year's gift was from BSU to Bridgewater was $140,000. The town receives a gift from the university during the summer, and in the past year saw amounts varying from $25,000 up to this year's gift of $140,000. The town manager said the partnership with Bridgewater State is crucial to success for both the town and Bridgewater State, and the town looks forward to continued partnerships in the coming years. The money will be used to support the first responders here in town, academic scholarships for residents, repairing town roads, and other initiatives.
It's going to cost you a little extra to take public transport into the city. The MBTA implemented its new fare hikes on July 1st that will affect subway service in the city and the commuter rail which goes through Bridgewater. A round trip in and out of the city used to cost riders $20. Now it will set you back an extra $1. Riders that buy monthly passes will now pay $340. That's a $22 increase from the previous rate. The MBTA is offering a $10 discount on monthly passes if you buy them through the M-Ticket app.
All this fare hike talk comes after Governor Charlie Baker announced a plan to accelerate the schedule of MBTA capital construction projects amid issues on the Red Line and Green Line, both of which have suffered derailments this year and many other issues. This could have impact for residents in Bridgewater that use the subway system in the city, as one of the bullet points of the plan includes earlier shutdowns in the evenings and weekend closures to allow expedited repairs to take place on the tracks. Right now, plans don't affect the Middleborough-Lakeville ride directly, which, as you may know, goes through Bridgewater. For more information on the new fare hike, visit mbta.com/newfares. You can also get all the new prices on the town's website, bridgewaterma.org. Residents came out for one of Bridgewater's annual Father's Day traditions. This year's Portuguese Festival took place at the Portuguese Club on Route 18. There was plenty of delicious food to go around, making the long lines worth the wait. Linguiça, Portuguese bread, fried dough, and the popular choice for many, the meat kebab. Father Bill Devine was in attendance to bless the bread and the meat on the Saturday night of the feast. The festival, along with its fun times and good food, does have a meaning dating back to the 1300s. There was a famine in Portugal, but Queen Isabel took the food from her table, including bread, and fed the poor. You can learn much more about the meaning of the Portuguese feast, on our YouTube page and a story we produced back in 2014, spending the week leading up to the weekend feast.
Firefighters Sunday is observed across the country and here in Bridgewater. Retired and current firefighters took part in the ceremony that also is an opportunity to remember those who have given the ultimate sacrifice. Council President Dennis Gallagher was in attendance along with other members of the council. Both he and Fire Chief Thomas Levy thanked the firefighters for their service to the community and thanked their families for sacrificing birthdays, anniversaries, and other big moments so the lives of others can be saved by the first responders.
I think I can speak for everybody in the town that when we hear the ambulance go off or the fire engine go off or the police cruiser go off with their sirens, that all of us really sit there wherever we are and think, what are they going to and what are they going to be getting into when they get there? See, a firefighter's never off duty. If things do come up, that's where the special bond comes between these men and women. They truly are a family.
In Bridgewater, Firefighters Sunday also serves as an opportunity for firefighters new to the department to be sworn in and pinned by members of their family. Joshua Sproul, Billy Lee, and Patrick Rose all officially joined the ranks here in town. David Bradshaw won the Chiefs Award, and Jonathan Hart won the 4th annual Chief Brother Levy Firefighter of the Year Award. Hart wasn't in attendance because he was in advanced training with the U.S. Marine Corps. Josh Sproul and Daniel Preach, who are both Marine Corps combat veterans, accepted the award on Heart's behalf. You may know the songs and the characters, but we'll introduce you to some of the local cast for this year's FPAC performance at Bridgewater State University.
Plus, running a 5K may be second nature for some, certainly not me. Throw some paint in and you have the BR Color Run, which involved an anchor at the desk. We'll have more after the break.
Watching my mom and dad age is hard. I worry about their financial decisions.
I don't know where to turn for advice.
For resources, tools, and self-directed courses, visit smartaboutmoney.org. A non-commercial organization focused on your financial success.
145 over 92.
180 over 111.
182 over 100. And I had a heart attack and a cardiac arrest. And then a stroke.
This is what high blood pressure looks like. You might not feel its symptoms, but the results from a heart attack or stroke are far from invisible or silent. Go to loweryourhbp.org.
Head to toe, everything's changed. Head to toe.
Students in the Bay State may not have to worry about the MCAT test being used as a measuring tool for their academic progress for much longer. There's a bill that was filed by the Representative Majority Decker and Senator Michael Rush that would place a 3-year moratorium on the exam being used as a means for graduation requirement, accountability rankings, and teacher evaluations. In addition to the moratorium, this bill would create a grant program that would support alternative assessment models and would direct the state auditor to audit the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education and the practices it uses for negotiations every 3 years. There's been a little to no testifying against the bills at the House and State Senate levels. As this gets discussed more, it's worth noting that the Education Committee attempted a similar bill that was eventually rejected.
On your mark! That's it!
Runners from around the town and even some visitors ran in the BR Color Run to help raise money for the DECA Club. The paint flew, but it was all for fun and a good cause. On June 9th, the Bridgewater Rainham DECA Club hosted a color fun run at the high school to not only raise money for the club, but also to give students involved a real-life experience running an event like this. We caught up with the club's business advisor, David Ferreira, to talk more about the club.
Every year we try to do something different for DECA, which is a business club, and we want to raise awareness for the club for one, secondly raise funds for our students who compete throughout the Massachusetts and internationally, help offset the cost for that. So beautiful day here, family fun day, carnival games, bouncy houses, get the family involved. We found it's the best way to raise money for our students. BR is just one chapter of the international nonprofit DECA that strives to teach high schoolers in the areas of business, marketing, and finance. Every year, clubs come together to compete against each other while working through real-life business situations. DECA is an international club with over 300,000 members, and it's a role-playing and a written exam for students in various business categories. If students like marketing, if they like entrepreneurship, they like finance, they can compete with judges and other schools in different categories. If they compete in that category and they win, they advance to another section. They have districts, states, and then internationally where they compete against Canada and Puerto Rico as well as the United States. And that's the highest level where they can win DECA Glass. So it's 3 levels of competition, real life role plays where they take a business case and the best answer to those cases advance to the next round. So it takes what's taught in the classroom and brings it into case studies in front of a real judge. With beautiful weather, a good cause to support, and the opportunity to get covered in paint, I decided to take a crack at the 5K myself. Before I ran, however, I needed a little help from my brother to get started with the paint. All right, let's do it. You threw the whole... After faster time than even I was expecting, I was covered in many different colors from head to toe after being doused in paint at the 5 different paint stations along the race course. After I finished, I also got a chance to catch up with Miss Mass, who had a special connection to the DECA Club. I'm here after the color run, as you can see, with Miss Massachusetts. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
So what brings you here today?
So I am a huge supporter of DECA. I went to King Philip High School, and I was in DECA over there, and went to ICDC. And I just think the organization's so great. You know, it teaches a lot of valuable lessons. So I wanted to come out here and support today. All in all, the day was a huge success for the DECA Club. For more information about what DECA does, you can visit their website at www.deca.org.
Now, I heard that you had actually a good time with the race. You did very well,
Not
apparently.
terrible. The 5K under 20 minutes.
That's Hey, better than the last time I ran a 5K, so that's for sure. And I heard there was also a challenge to Jeff, our famous meteorologist.
Yes, I am just challenging Jeff's position in the community for being the most involved citizen of Bridgewater that doesn't actually live in Bridgewater.
Ooh, I like that. That's a spicy challenge.
He was
right
not
there.
so thrilled with this challenge.
Moving on now, The Wizard of Oz is one of the most recognizable movies ever, but the Yellow Brick Road is set to go through the Rondelou Campus Center at Bridgewater State University for the Family Performing Arts Center's presentation of the classic. John Luck had a chance to talk to some of the cast ahead of the performances.
The BSU Family Performing Arts Center has been putting on shows suitable for everyone ages 9 to 90, including Shrek the Musical, Beauty and the Beast, Mary Poppins, and last year, The Little Mermaid. The cast is made up of residents locally and former students that are returning home to Bridgewater State. The performances will be fun for the cast and, more importantly, fun for the audience.
The great and powerful Oz has got matters well at hand, I hope. So you can all go home. Go home, there's nothing to worry about.
Going home is the goal of Dorothy in the timeless classic The Wizard of Oz. The BSU Family Performing Arts Center will have performances taking place at the Rondelou Campus Center during the weekends of July 19th through the 21st and July 25th through the 28th. Many may be all too familiar with the movie debuting in the 1930s, but what some people may not know, however, is that the movie is based off a series of books. Much like the movie put its spin on the books, the play at Bridgewater State will look to do the same.
And so I think MGM took from the book and they made their version, but I think there's so much more that you can explore. So the good thing is that we have the same script, the same music, everything that people expect to come and hear will be here. But you know, we're not a film, and so we're theater. So we're going to do things in 3D and do them a lot different. And so that's our approach, and I think people will come because they'll get to hear the things they're familiar with, but at the same time, they'll be excited by seeing some amazing things.
The cast is made up of many talented people, some from far away and some from as close as East Bridgewater and, of course, here in Bridgewater. Talking with some of the crew, they were excited to perform it in their hometown, offering a rare opportunity to have friends and family in attendance, and offered up the part of the performance they're looking forward to the most.
I remember going to see shows when I was a young child and being mesmerized by the talent on stage, by all of the sets and the costumes, and it totally drew me into the world of the play. So I want to give that back to the other kids.
The first show that I saw here was Beauty and the Beast, I think 2 or 3 years ago. And it's what got me to audition for my first show here. And I think it's really cool that we get to share theater with like local people, so we'll maybe get them into theater so they'll do it and have as much fun as I did.
I like how we can do shows locally because it's really easy for my family and friends to see it. Plus, a lot of people who I do theater with, I do it like right in this town, so like all of my theater friends and acquaintances can come see it, which is what I really like about doing theater locally.
For me, it's really exciting being in Bridgewater again because I go to school in Connecticut, so a lot of friends and family don't get to see performances, whereas here it's a lot easier for them to all come. And also it's exciting because at Bridgewater Middle School we used to come and watch the Bridgewater State shows, so now it's kind of my turn and I get to do that, and that's fun to share.
I remember being very little, and one of the first shows I ever saw was here at Bridgewater State University. It was called Mrs. Glenville's Musical Melodrama, and I can still remember specifically certain scenes from it and certain special things that happened on the stage. So I'm really excited that other kids from the community are going to be brought here to see the shows we're working on now.
The Wizard of Oz is the latest show in a long line of performances held at Bridgewater State as part of the FPAC program, an initiative that dates back to the Children's Theater held at BSU, which ended a few years ago. The goal is still the same, however, as it was years prior, to put on a show that the entire family will come out and enjoy.
You know, people were missing the children's theater that we used to do here, so we brought back children's theater, family theater, by starting FPAC. And so we're just always searching for something that would be entertaining for the whole family, for the kids, the parents, and the grandparents, so they can all come together and enjoy it together.
It was fun watching the rehearsal as the cast was easygoing and genuinely enjoyed each other's company. As rehearsals get later, closer to the shows and during the shows, I mentioned some crew members had to travel. Well, some of the cast in the Bridgewater area actually opened their homes to those that have to travel to and from BSU. Tickets for the performances are available online at familyperformingartscenter.com. If you missed this year's performance, the group puts on a great show every year, and you should certainly put in your schedule for next year. For the Bridgewater Review, I'm John Luck. Now I'll send it back over to Scott and someone that has some experience in performing The Wizard of Oz. Yes, she performed Dorothy, Mary Evers.
Fun fact, I actually got the part by doing the whole movie by myself to explain to some of the other cast members who hadn't seen the movie what happens in it.
You know, that's a good strategy.
Yeah.
I think if you could show the source material, that's like half the battle right there, I think.
That's what I thought. I was all of 12. Governor Charlie Baker and Lieutenant Governor Karen Polito proclaimed the week of July 14th to the 20th as a Hurricane Preparedness Week. After Hurricane Barry's recent impact in Louisiana, the top two political figures in the state are using this week to emphasize to Massachusetts residents the vulnerability to tropical storms and hurricanes and how you can prepare.
MEMA Director Samantha Phillips encourages all residents to prepare for the impacts of tropical storms. There's nothing nearby to New England right now, but there's always time to prepare. The state and MEMA offer up some tips to plan in case a tropical storm does come up this way. First, create an evacuation plan. Where and what you'll bring and how you'll get there, and what to do with your pets. If you shelter in place, have enough food and other necessities for at least 72 hours.
There are more tips to help you prepare if anything comes up to New England from the tropics. You can log into the state's website at mass.gov/news. With heat indices rising into triple digits, the risk of heat illness also rises. Dehydration, heat cramps, heat exhaustion, or even heat stroke are all potential dangers of going outside for a prolonged amount of time. Doctors say the key to preventing a dangerous situation is knowing the signs and what to do if an emergency occurs.
You might start to get a headache, you might start to feel a little nauseous, certainly if you're feeling dizzy. Those are all signs that you're getting dehydrated and you may be in a setup for a heat emergency. And you notice that they're not acting right. Certainly if they're acting confused or they're just not themselves, that's a sign that they could be developing heat stroke, and you need to definitely get them removed from the heat. And if they do not recover quickly from that, and certainly if they do have that altered mental status, you need to get them to the closest emergency department right away.
There are some tips if you know you're going to be outside in the heat for an extended time. First, make sure you're hydrated before and after you go out into the heat. Take plenty of breaks and make sure you bring a bottle of water with you. Drink to the level of your thirst, because when you're thirsty, it's your body's way of telling you that it's time to hydrate. Heat stroke is something to take very seriously with potential damaging effects to your heart, liver, kidneys, muscles, nervous system, or your life. If you notice someone is having a hard time thinking, it's a significant sign that they are suffering from a potential heat stroke and may need immediate medical attention.
Coming up, we'll have a look at some events happening around town.
Plus, BR athletes are recognized nationally for their performance in the pool and on the field.
If you don't fix them, sparks from dragging tow chains could cause a wildfire, and that could be scary.
Hi, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
A stroke can be easy to detect. A loved one can't speak, perhaps they can't move. But there's another sign of a stroke that many of us can't see. It's called spatial neglect, and it can occur during or after a stroke, causing distorted visual movements. Fortunately, there's a solution by using optical prism technology during rehabilitation. If you or a loved one have experienced a stroke, ask your doctor about spatial neglect. Spatial neglect. See the whole picture at KesslerFoundation.org.
BR softball season ended in the Division I state semifinals. The team had some outstanding feats, including a 19-1 regular season and a pair of their players earning All-American East Region team status. Pitcher Julia Ferry and outfielder Jill Johnson made the team. Ferry made the first team and Johnson made the second. Ferry went 20-2 this season with a .79 ERA, including 4 no-hitters and 14 complete shutouts. Julia also went .367 at the plate this season. Jill Johnson didn't have a bad season with a .500 batting average and an on-base percentage of .525. and 22 runs batted in. They were the only 2 girls at the Bay State to make the team.
Yeah, that's certainly not bad, especially a 500 batting average.
No.
They weren't the only BR athletes to go All-American. Swimmer and sophomore Megan Kramer was named to the team thanks to her performances in the 200-meter individual medley. The recognition is given to the 100 fastest times in the country, and Megan was number 59 on the list. The National Interscholastic Swimming Coaches Association said Kramer's 500-meter freestyle time landed her on the list as well. Congrats to all 3 athletes on quite the performances this past year. For the second straight year, Bridgewater Credit Union will be holding a Wags and Waffles event. On Sunday, July 28th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., there will be an ice cream truck with waffle cones, music, face painting, and of course, future pets to adopt. Some pets will be available to adopt on the spot, while some require a home visit first. The event takes place at Bridgewater branch located at 75 Main Street. For more information on the event or to adopt a pet, visit the links on the screen.
Summerfest is coming to Bridgewater. Central Square Congregational Church will hold a farm-to-table community dinner. On Saturday, August 17th at 6 p.m., you'll be able to enjoy delicious food, including pulled pork, nachos, grilled sirloin steak, and much more. There will be music by the CSCC Ukes as well. The cost is $30 per person, $25 for seniors, and for kids ages 7 to 12, $10. Children 6 and under eat for free. For more information, call 508-697-6016 or visit www.csccucc.org/events.
On Bridgewater Review, we look to give you the headlines and something to talk about. All across the nation, the Face App Challenge has been overtaking social media. Celebrities and athletes have been aged thanks to the app that originally debuted in 2017, making what's old new again, or in this case, what's photographed is old. One of the filters will allow you to age yourself to what you would look like in your 70s and 80s. We decided to try it here at the studio and see what we'll look like later on in life.
Oof.
You know what? I gotta give the app credit on that one because that looks really good. I mean, the face, I can't help that, but it looks old.
I honestly think Brian has better facial hair in this picture than he actually does.
That's a nice shot right there.
Yeah, it's a good one. Jeff. See, I was really worried that Jeff was just going to look like his dad, but he still looks like himself, just really old.
Yeah, not a bad job from the app there.
The hair is holding up well.
It looks still the same. He must use a lot of hair dye in his 70s and 80s. That sounds like Jeff, honestly.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah. Oof,
John's looking like Santa Claus.
Yep, he's got a very Santa Claus.
Especially, what was that Netflix Santa Claus movie that came out last year? I don't remember. But
I don't know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
I don't remember the name of the movie, but watch that movie. That's what John looks like right now.
Yep, and John Luck loves Christmas, so he'll be so thrilled to hear that we thought that.
That is just horrifying.
At least you still got your trains.
My friends have always said I'm an old man for playing with trains, but it's horrifying to see what that's actually going to look like someday.
The real question is, will you keep that haircut for when you're old?
Probably.
Yeah, makes sense.
Probably, yes.
The next one is the one I'm most worried about.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I don't know what that looks like.
That looks like a model shoot. That looks like a model shoot from like the 80s, but with someone who's been through life at that point.
All that means is I need to really use skin cream before I go to bed.
Or
from now for the rest of my life.
Or since you're a redhead, sunblock.
Sunblock too.
You probably get burned just sitting under the lights here at the studio.
That's true. That's all for this edition of the program.
Remember, you can watch Weather with Jeff Fowler and Bridgewater Now with John Luck across our social media platforms. You can see the names of the pages on your screen. For now, I'm Scott Olson.
And I'm Mary Evers. Thanks for watching.